Hi and welcome. When compared to their peers from traditional two-parent homes, children raised in single-parent homes are at risk for a number of less desirable outcomes. Such outcomes include both lower academic performance in school and a higher incidence of behavioral problems. Some say the absence of a father figure in a child's life is the direct effect. My guests today are a brother and sister who were raised by only their mother in a one-bedroom apartment. You'll meet them shortly, as well as find out if they are part of these statistics or have they broken out from all single-parent stereotypes. Stay tuned to find out. Hi and welcome. Joining us today is Kelly and Jade Martin. They are a brother and sister who were both raised by only their mother growing up. We're going to meet them today and find out what is life like for them being raised by only a mother instead of having a father figure in their lives on a daily basis. Hi guys, nice to see you today. Thank you for being here today. Kelly, I'm going to start with you because you're the big brother here. What was life like growing up for you without a father figure on a daily basis?
It wasn't something that I thought about all the time. My mom was always like this larger than life figure. She just provided so much and so much time spent with her that, didn't really think a lot about, that I don't have a dad. My mom was like the world,
Excellent. So what was your reaction when you had learned or you became the age where she told you that there's no father living here with you, so to speak? I mean, what was that like for you, that when she said that this was her decision, that she just wanted to have you and your sister and not have a father every day present in your life?
Yeah, once again, like my mom was, my mom was the T, that was my mom. But in the same breath, though, it was like, I have a dad. How come my dad doesn't want to be my dad?
Right.
And it just didn't make sense. And there were times where, I would talk to him on the phone and, I'm going to come see you or whatever. And I didn't see him till I was about like 7 years old, So
Yeah, because you did meet him eventually. I mean, what was that like for you to meet him for the first time at such a young age?
It was cool. It was cool. It was like, I couldn't believe that that was actually my dad, talk to him on the phone every once in a while, but you've never really seen him or definitely never, been with him. So it was like, just a once in a lifetime kind of amazing experience at the time.
What do you remember most about that experience?
Well, he lives down in Arkansas, so I'd never been to the country before that. So just meeting a whole bunch of cousins and whatnot. Actually met my brother for the first time when I was down there, and it was just it was different, but it was cool. It was cool.
Okay. So what did you walk away with after meeting him for the first time? I mean, were you nervous first of all? I mean, how did it happen? Tell us the story.
I wasn't nervous. It was different, different living or whatever. I remember meeting him at the airport, and I was 7. I was little, so seeing him, he was bigger than he really was. As a kid, I thought my dad was so big. Even I just realized this past year when I just visited him, I always thought my dad was bigger than me. I'm bigger than my dad. And it's funny just because, it's your dad, so you just think of him oh, that's my dad. He's this big guy. But so that's how I felt when I first met him.
Do you feel like you look up to him now, all these years later, and because you still do have contact with him?
Yeah.
But how could you describe the experience now, as opposed to being that young and not having him there present all that time? And do you feel like he missed out on a lot?
Yeah. I mean, God has things happen for a reason. But it's tough, though, because I know my mom so well, and throughout the years, from about 18 to I'm 28 now, last 10 years, I've pretty much spent time with my dad every single year. When I graduated high school, I spent a month and a half with him.
Okay.
And I know him very well. He knows me very well. I can call him about anything, and we can just sit and talk on the phone for a while, hang out. When I go down there, when he comes up here. Really, the only thing that upsets me is I never met two people that I feel could go so well together.
Yeah.
And it would be so cool, if him and my mom, were together you know, raising my sister and I, because to me, they are the funniest, coolest. You know, both of them got stories for days about, you know, all sorts of things that they've gone in their life. Like, that'd be cool, man. But
that'd be nice.
You know.
So is that something you feel like maybe you missed out on? I mean, do you kind of, how do I want to put it? Do you wish that your mom made a different decision and maybe stayed with your dad and have the two of them raise you both together?
Well, I also know how my dad is too. So, you know, like I said, I think things happen for a reason. Like, I think they were and could be so compatible, but I also know my dad, you know, a little wild too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that, you know, maybe if they were together, maybe my dad would have broke my mom's heart. You know, maybe my dad would have put my mom through something terrible. You know, who knows? Because my dad has, you know, lived a life. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, things happen for a reason. So even though in my mind it could have been something beautiful, you never know. Could have been. You
never know.
Terrible.
Absolutely.
So I'm just thankful that, you know, my mom raised us the way she did. You know. So.
Absolutely. I mean, you're both very well accomplished, and we'll get to that in just a little while. But, you know, going back to when you were growing up, I mean, did you often wonder why he wasn't around on a daily basis? Did you ask your mom why do kids in school have two parents and why do I only have one? I mean, I remember asking that to my own mother because I grew up just being raised by my mother as well. So this is interesting to me as well, you know, hearing your stories because I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, before I first met him, my dad spent a number of years in college. You know, college. So, you know, that wasn't possible for him, you know, him to be a part of my life during those times. But, you know, really after that first time, it was kind of like, you know, I met him, and then, you know, 9 months later, you know, my sister came along. So it was kind of like, you know, we had our own, you know, family going on.
Yeah.
Still, I would think about him, you know, want him to be, you know, a part of our life, but it just wasn't. I kind of just thought it wasn't going to happen, and, you know, Jade a little crazy, so, you know, she kept the house busy, you know.
That's funny. Okay, so while you were in school and growing up and just having your mom, I mean, did other kids know that you were just being raised by only your mom? I mean, did they pick on you or make fun of you?
I'm sure other kids knew. You know, it was definitely, you know, I went to a small school, small white school actually. My mom's white, so, you know, me and my sister, we definitely stand out, you know, in everywhere that we go in town, and you know, especially in school as well too, small school.
Right.
But never, you know, oh, there goes Kelly without her dad. You know, you know, there's never
nothing like
that.
Okay.
And also, people knew my mom. You know, you don't play no games with my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so if you're in a small town, it's probably much better off. Good to know. So were you ever involved in school or any kind of school? I'm sorry, like sports and school activities like that you kind of wish that maybe Dad was there?
No, actually, that wasn't something that, you know, missing a dad. Because actually, the coaches, you know, that I was blessed with, you know, growing up, kind of took on like a, you know, like a father type role to me. My old high school coach, I still go to his house now and still do some, you know, basketball stuff with him now. And you know, I'll call him up on the phone, you know, hey Dad, how's it going? And, you know, I could sit and rap with him for, you know, for hours about anything. And so,
right.
So I've been blessed to have.
So you did have that father figure in your life.
Yeah,
growing up,
a few, and you know, I'm thankful for that.
Because I'm sure there's things that you'd much rather talk to, let's say, your father or another man about as opposed to talking to your mom about. Wouldn't you agree?
You would think that, but the way our family is, you know, we might.
We'll get to that too.
We might pick our nose and put it on each other. You know, we're a very close family.
So do you blame your father for not being around all those years that you were growing up, or how do you look at the whole overall picture of it?
As a kid, I didn't understand it. You know, as a kid, I didn't understand it. But, you know, as I got older and, you know, developed a relationship with my dad, you know, I understand the kind of life that he lives. I understand how it is, you know, down in Arkansas. You know, my dad has multiple kids. My brother has multiple kids. My uncles have multiple kids. So I understand how it is down there.
Right.
It's a different world. You know, that's how they live down there. And it's a shame that it's like that. It's not as, you know, sometimes when we see families here, we see like a, you know, mom, you know, son, father, daughter, you know, just like a strong bond or whatever. There it's just like, oh, that's my son over there, you know, that's my other, you know, daughter over there. Like, you know, it's just not, you know, not as strong, you know, sometimes.
How does it make you feel that he does have other children other than you?
I'm cool with it. I have a good relationship with my two younger sisters, my younger brother, my older brother. There's a couple brothers and sisters that I don't know as well, I wish I had the opportunity to, to be closer with them, but it's cool when I do get to visit. It's like, it's like clockwork. We pick up right where we left off.
Nice. It's good to know. So how would you describe your overall relationship with your mom and your sister today? What is that like? I see some chuckles and some chuckling in the audience over there too from Mama.
Sometimes it could be like a roller coaster of emotions. Just because we're so close, we know each other so well. So, just sometimes like the littlest things that we say could, set each other off. But it's all love. Like I don't. Truthfully, I'll be around a lot of different families, and I don't see the closeness and the love, that we share. And I think that has to do with, us being so close growing up, and my mom always kind of just like sharing so much with us, and always, having these long talks with us, and just tell me how you feel, tell me what's going on. You got to be honest with me. You got to be, so many things that she kind of instilled in us. That's how we are. We're just like, people get confused, like, who's that? Your best friend? That's my mother. Like that's just how we are.
That's awesome, though, it really is. Especially in today, to be that close with your family and moms. I mean, it's such a great experience. So how do you personally feel about children, the way they grow up, if they are only raised by one parent? Do you feel there's really a big difference? Because based on our research, the statistics show that they tend to do less, not so good in school, they have behavioral problems. I mean, did you have any issues like that growing up yourself?
I think what's important about it is if you are going to be a single parent, like sometimes, parents don't always plan to be a single parent. My mom planned to be a single parent. And not only did she plan to be a single parent, she put herself through school, and also didn't really have much of a personal life when she was raising my sister and I. So sometimes people, they have kids, it wasn't maybe a planned thing, thought the boyfriend or husband was going to be around, they end up splitting, whatever the case may be, and now they're trying to live their youth and try to raise a kid, and like that was my mom's job. I got to raise these kids.
She made sacrifices for you
and that's what she did. So if you go into the equation with that on, then it's a good idea. But if you're trying to live your life and be a mother at the same time, good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, prior to today's show, I mean, I'd met with you and Jade and just talked about your story real quick. And she actually mentioned that your mom was still in school while she actually had you. You would be in the corner. Is that right, Mom? Yeah, she's nodding, yes. You would be out in the little corner there coloring and things. I mean, do you remember that? I mean, were you too young? Or
no, I do.
What do you remember about that experience?
My mom used to record the classes. So I remember, my mom would play it back, and I'd be, making a little noise in the background, or maybe trying to ask my mom something during class. And I actually went to Suffolk too. My mom went to Suffolk for nursing, and I did some of my undergraduate classes at Suffolk before I transferred. And so it's like I went to Suffolk twice, So I went to Suffolk when I was 3, and I went to Suffolk.
So you're really smart now.
Yeah, I'm all right.
That's good. So tell us about what you're doing today. I mean, you just mentioned you went to school. What is your career or your job today?
I graduated from St. Joe's in 2007. And right around the time I graduated, I started coaching basketball in a Christian school in Center Reach. And ever since then, things kind of took off with, relationship with God and also with basketball. And I'm a Christian basketball coach and trainer. And
Excellent.
I go on missions trips all, throughout the country. I've been
so you
to
get
Africa.
to travel a lot.
Yeah, God is good. I'm very, very thankful
Excellent.
for it.
And you work with younger children too, is that right?
I work with little guys from the age of 5 to older guys, 25 that play professional basketball.
So what is that like for you? Is that for you like giving something back to community?
Yeah. And plus, what's also good too is I work with kids from time to time, that grew up in situations that we grew up in. Like I said, my mom was single mother, so we didn't always have it good money wise. So I work with kids that have some difficult situations. Sometimes I work with kids that are in foster care and whatnot too. So I was in foster care, I had my mom, but I understand how things can be tough. So I'm very thankful that I get to reach and teach and touch.
Growing up in foster care, I mean, we have several shows that are coming in the future by somebody who was raised in foster care and in group homes, and some of the stories that he had already shared with us to, his story of what he's going to share on the show. I mean, it's just mind-boggling what's really out there. I mean, some of these kids really have such a tough experience. Yeah. So the fact that somebody like you is here, and you're kind of like a father figure to them in a way, if you think about it. I mean, do they come to you with their problems and try to talk to you about them?
Yeah, and I'm very thankful, that they do. I'm very glad that, I'm in a position where, I can help them out if they need help, or, just be an ear, to talk to, or maybe, say a prayer for them, or, whatever it is.
Excellent. Very nice. Well, Kelly, thank you so much. Stay with us because you can feel free to chime in throughout. Moving on to you, Jade. You're Kelly's sister. Welcome.
Oh, thank
Some of you
you
might remember Jade. She was on our prom fashion show several weeks ago. She looked lovely, and you're back today. So tell me, Jade, when you grew up just being raised by your mom, what was life overall like for you? What was the whole experience like?
It was definitely a different experience from Kelly. I never really guess I thought about the whole dad situation until specific holidays came up. And in class we would be making things for our dads or fathers, they like globes and stuff, and I would get so excited just to like make these things, even though like I knew he like wasn't around. Like I never was wondering like where is he. I was just so excited to be like, oh, he's gonna get these, like we'll ship them to him. Like I knew the situation. It didn't really affect me because I think it's just what it is for me is that I was such like a mommy's girl, and like my mom was just like everything to me. Like I always wanted to do what she was doing. Like I would always want to help her, like doing laundry, like do what mom's doing. So like, I was always attached to the hip to her. So like it never affected me until like father-daughter dances, maybe like a little bit, but like it would be just a great time to go with my mom. Like Kelly has come with me to a couple of them, so it's like always, it's like I could have that situation, but then it turns into such a positive, more like family. Like we're so tight. So like I never really missed that, and even like growing up, like I still don't miss it.
So you never really questioned why he wasn't around on a daily basis? I mean, did you ever ask your mom anyway, just out of
Not that I remember. I just know that when I was younger, they told me stories how like I would always be like, "Mom, I found you someone." But then I know like as I got older, I was very possessive over, be like, "I don't want you dating anyone. Like this is my mom. Stay away." So like and then as I got older, I'm like, "Go date people." So it's definitely changed throughout my whole life.
Right. And you did meet your father one time in your life. How old were you?
I said 4th grade until Kelly told me it was 5th grade today. So I met him in 5th grade, and that was a really unique situation. My mom had this photo of him and like all like dressed up and like, I don't know, what was his Navy thing?
Yeah.
His Navy photo. And I pretty much would always stare at that at night. So that was my image of him, and I'm just like, this guy is gonna be so cool because he's in the Navy, like suit. Like I guess that's what I pictured when I would see him. And then being
when you actually saw him, it was a different
being
experience.
At the airport, just like, oh, you country man, I love you. And it was just, I was so excited to see this man that I thought was gonna be in the photo that when I saw him, it was a disappointment. Like I was so excited, and then I saw him, just like, oh, like this is it. Like I think I hyped it up so much in my head as a child that once it finally came to reality, it's just like, this isn't what I want. You can turn around. I'm so happy with mom, still happy. Like I don't need this.
Was there anything specific that made you feel that way, or?
It wasn't him at all, because after like him being there for his trip, I was pretty much turned into like a daddy's girl. Like always like wanting to like do stuff with daddy, and like we went to the Bronx Zoo, and it's not that I put my mom on the back burner or anything. It's just that I never had the whole father figure around, I guess what my friends had. But like it didn't upset me, but just him being around, it just like turned into like this mush. And then as soon as he was gone, I was like, mommy. So I was always attached.
So growing up in school, I mean, I asked Kelly the same question. Did people know that you were only being raised by your mom? Did they laugh at you for it or make fun?
No. I actually had a friend named Megan. She had a single mom too as well. So a lot of my friends knew, or people in general knew, but no one ever like said anything to me being like, how do you feel in it, or questioned it or made fun of me. I just feel it was a norm to me. Right. So it never, no like feeling abnormal about it at all.
And then Father's Day would come around, and I understand that was kind of tough for you. It was a little awkward.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It wasn't, like in class, no one would ever say anything to me. It was just pretty much like, I loved arts and crafts, so I think just that itself was thrilling. So it was never like a sad day for me. It was just fun to make stuff for him, for him to get in like the future, so. But
how did it feel not to have him there to give it to, though?
I don't think it affected me as much. I feel like maybe it would have been nice, but it was more like my mom was like my dad and mom, and I had Kelly, who was such a big gap. So, and there's my uncles too. So it's always, and I was really close with my uncles, so we used to see family all the time. So it's still always having like males in my life that I always
So you still had like a
I
father
always still
figure
had
that
that
you could
father
turn to.
figure. So it was never that I was never surrounded by males, by positive males in my life. So it was still good.
Excellent. So growing up, I mean, did you have any contact with him? I mean, did you talk on the phone or anything?
He did call a lot. I know that.
Let's go get some bagels.
Yeah, I remember that I did not want to talk to him. I remember my mom would be on the phone with him telling me to talk to him, and I'm screaming from another room, making up lies. Like, I'm in the bathroom, I can't come, like, and I don't want to talk to him.
But why is that, though? Why didn't
I
you
don't know,
want
I
to
think
speak to him?
I did develop some type of resentment for him here and there, but it didn't fully affect me. I mean, now that I do think about it, I remember we had these, like, little black figurines Mom used to put up for Christmas, you know, those tall people.
Yeah.
Mom used to always put them together, and then when no one was looking, I would put, like, the dad away. And I, like, because you're not there. But,
wow.
yeah, I just remembered I used to do that all the time. And, like, I don't, like, because he was in the picture, so I felt like he shouldn't be with the figurines.
Did you feel like even though it was your mom's decision just to raise both of you on her own, I mean, did you feel like he maybe didn't put up a fight enough to be more involved in both your lives? I mean, I'm just trying to understand the resentment that you had at such a young age.
I feel like that Kelly and I guess how my mom, she put us on, like, pedestals, like, as, like, you know, her greatest gifts ever. And I felt like we were such great kids. Like, why wouldn't he want to not actually be our parent, but just at least want to visit us enough more?
Right.
Or say, like, I'll fly you guys down, like, set up stuff with my mom. It's not that I wanted him in the picture. I just wanted him to, like, actually care and not give empty promises, because he did that a lot. Like, he would say he's coming to visit, and you're like, all right, Dad, he's coming to visit. And, like, I do remember I would get really excited, like, oh, he's coming to visit this year, and then, like, he's not. So it's just, after a while, it's just like, I just don't care anymore. And it's not that I would cry about it. I think I just grew really thick-skinned to the situation. And
You just kind of buried it.
And then once I finally did
buried
meet
it.
him, it was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelly had mentioned earlier that he does have other children, and is he remarried? Do you guys know? He's not
No,
remarried.
he's not.
But being that he does have other children, I mean, how does that make you feel?
I'm close to my youngest sister and youngest brother, like Kelly is. I don't really know my other siblings, but pretty much when I have visited down there, it's like we've always lived there for some reason. Just everyone's like, oh, it's Kelly, it's Jade. Like, it's just, it's so much love, even though we were never there. It's just they give so much love that it's like you can't hate it. It's just, it's like you give like what you get. And
Right,
it's
they're
just,
very giving.
it's such a loving experience. It's great. And I have such a good bond with like my sister. Like, I talk to her all the time. Like, now I talk to my dad some here and there, but my sister I'm very close with.
That's good. So how would you describe your relationship with him today?
It's really like I talk to him like less than 4 times a year.
Really?
It's really me. It's not him.
I feel like there's still some bittersweet
It's
there.
it's a bittersweet. It's really just I'm so busy, and it's just like really on the bottom of my list to like outreach to Dad, and it's like he doesn't text, and that's like easy for me as well. Like, sometimes I can't.
Yeah, I mean, the
always
lines
talk
of
on the
communication have definitely changed
Yeah.
over the years between Facebook and texting and cell phones and things. I mean, there's
Yeah.
definitely more ways to get in contact with loved ones. I mean, do you feel like he could be putting out more, getting in, more contact with you, or?
I don't blame him for not the contact. I mean, he does call me, and like sometimes like I don't pick up because I don't realize it's him because he like changes his number all the time. But like I'll get voicemails from him, and then like I'm like I'll get back to that, and then I just forget, and it's like 3 weeks later have passed.
Yeah.
And then like I just don't. It's not that I'm doing it on purpose because like he wasn't around or anything. It's just that I'm so busy, and it's not like, oh, my mom called. Like, I'll put everything on hold. Like, I will be talking to someone. If my mom's calling, I'll be like, you need to stop. Like, I need to pick this up.
Yeah, so you have a
And
very
it's
close
over
relationship
nothing,
with your mom.
Yeah.
So I
really
asked
do.
Kelly the same question. Tell us about your relationship with your mom, because I could tell that all 3 of you have such a strong connection here that
yeah.
I want you to put it into words for us. I want everybody to understand what it's like.
My relationship with my mom is like she is my sister, my best friend, and like everyone calls me Mini Dawn because like I'm just so like it's kind of creepy because I do things like throughout the day and I'm like, oh, this is my mom. Like we're so alike. It's crazy. Like I bond with her so well. Like I mean, we do fight like sisters, but it's over like really little things. But other than that, we're so close. Like we're attached to the hip still. Like I'll do things with her all the time. Like I'll go out to clubs with my mom. It's like weird, but it's my norm. But I do a lot with her. Like I involve her in everything in my life.
There really is. I mean, the fact that you can be that close with your mom and tell each other everything, and even go out clubbing. I mean, how cool is that to go clubbing with your mom? So let me ask you a personal question here. Do you feel that children that are raised by one parent, I mean, you heard me talk in the beginning about the statistics, how kids have behavioral problems, they do really bad in school. I mean, did any of those things ever happen to you growing up?
No, I don't think it ever affected me. I just feel like the whole single parent and the stereotype, I guess the statistics like of not doing well, that's really just based off the parent and it's in like their household and not being raised by one parent, because there's kids that like I went to school with and they have two parents and they are doing terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's true that, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, there are lots of, I think it's, I don't want to say it's equal, but I definitely think that there's two sides to it. I mean, I feel that kids that are raised by single parents, as long as you have one strong parent that can take on the responsibility and make the sacrifice. I mean, judging by what you and Kelly said, I mean, it sounds like your mom made a lot of sacrifices to be able to raise both of you on her own. And the fact that just a couple of key factors here, I mean, you were both raised in the same one-bedroom apartment. I mean, as opposed to kids that are raised in two-story homes and four-bedroom houses. I mean, did that ever affect you any? Did you ever maybe be a little envious of that?
I had a lot of sleepovers. To be in those bigger houses sometimes.
And in your mind, were you like comparing, like, is this something you like better over the other? I mean,
well, for myself, I had a lot of friends that, you know, I would sleep at their house and whatnot, but every time like I'll go into Port Jeff and, you know, I'll be with friends and you know, visit my mom or something like that, I'll be like, yeah, Port Jeff has all these big houses. I said, but I wouldn't trade anything else to grow up right where we grew up, because we grew up right in town where you can kind of like walk to anything and you know, go right to the park or just hang out and get some ice cream right on the street. So like I loved growing up right where we grew up. Like it was great.
What about you, Jade? Same question.
I think when I was younger it didn't affect me, but as I got older I wanted my own space. Like I needed my own space. I mean, Kelly wasn't there. He moved out when I was old enough to not, like, we weren't clustered in together, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But it was annoying to just be so on top of each other. It was really never like if you got into like an argument, you're never gonna be like, I'm gonna go to my room. But you can't do that.
Where could you go?
It's like really, it's like you're still right there. But I still wouldn't trade it. I mean, the only thing I'd change is having my own room. But like I just love, it's just walking into that apartment is just so homey. Like all my friends are just like, it feels like homecoming here. And it's kind of crazy because like a lot of our friends have a better connection with mom than their own parents. It's really funny. It's true.
That's awesome.
But the great thing is the whole being downport. You're around everything.
So you, being in Port Jeff, yeah, I mean, that's such a beautiful area down in the village.
I got to get a ride
down
there.
So I can see why you love it so much.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you both. We're just about out of time today, but thank you so much for being here today and sharing your story and your point of views on this subject. I mean, it was definitely interesting to me because, like I said, I grew up just being raised by my mother as well, and it's always interesting to me how other people turn out who are raised by only one parent as well. I mean, I feel that all three of us here and many others at home, I'm sure, have broken through those statistics that say children raised by one parent have, you know, a less brighter future. I mean, it is what the parent is, and I think I have a great mother, and I think you both have a great mother as well. So thank you so much. If you have a story you'd like to share with us here on the Jason Galka Show, please go to our website at www.jasongalka.wix.com/JG and tell us your story. It's also in the credits. And I thank you at home for watching. As always, we'll see you next time.